Hi, I'm Jason.
Tim Burke.
Nice to meet you. Okay, here we go.
This is Affinio. We help marketers basically better understand and relate to the people they're trying to reach.
Perfect.
So the dashboard you see in front of you actually is perfectly aligned with the Microsoft message today. So we analyzed over 360,000 followers on Microsoft. And what our algorithm does is basically identifies based on interests and passions of those individuals in the group, in the audience, breaks them in and segments them based on their passions. So essentially the visual down here is essentially the breakout of all that entire audience. To give you an understanding of sort of how different and how actually distributed those audiences look. When you start looking into the specifics of their interest patterns, let's say hip hop fans, you start to see a really distinct follower pattern slanted heavily towards music. You start jumping into Microsoft fans and it all of a sudden becomes everything sort of Microsoft and tech, all the way through to gaming. So you can start to see basically the brands that are relevant to them, the people that are relevant to them, and ultimately leveraging this, marketers are basically able to understand both the interests and passions of these different segments, is also able to jump in and look directly into sort of the content that's over-indexing and resonating with these people. So from a content strategy perspective, they can jump in, power use the tool to basically relate to and understand in depth what people are consuming, how they consume it, what channels and what influencers are basically meaningful to them.
This is a great idea.
Yeah.
I know this is a great idea because I invested in a company called Get Little Bird.
Yep.
Which does something extraordinarily similar, and they have a lot of SaaS customers.
Yeah, I know Patrick well.
Good. So you have a question or you want feedback on this product?
Actually, I do have a question because we're sort of in the midst of growing. We've got 50 customers worldwide right now.
Great.
A lot.
What do they pay? $500 a month, $50 a month?
No, starts at $2,500 a month.
$2,500 a month.
Yep.
It's not cheap.
Not cheap, no.
$30,000 a year?
Yes.
$2,500 a month.
Yep. Yeah, with some of the media companies that we're working with, 10x that. So significant revenue.
How do they use it, and how often do they use it?
So for the most part, they basically are using it to understand sort of native advertising and the audience segmentation that they're actually powering. So they're using it in their sales cycle to basically build better content.
Great.
Yeah.
So they get insights for doing content marketing.
That's exactly right. You got it.
It might be worth $30,000 a year, or it might not be. That's what you're going to have. That's going to be one of the keys to this business, is making sure that they actually use the product. Because products like these, I find, are, you bring them into an organization, people love them.
Yep.
They wow people, the tag clouds, everything seems really interesting.
Yes.
Then they forget about the tool.
Yes.
And it's not part of their daily workflow. So that's going to be one of your big challenges, is to make it part of the daily workflow and something that's essential and that actually drives ROI. So I think that's my biggest piece of advice for you, but you have a question.
Yeah, no, I'd love to know, certainly as in the growth phase of a company, what mistakes or what have you seen work best when people are growing from, let's say, 10 to 100 people?
Sure.
Maintaining culture, which is such a critical thing to a small company.
It is. The number one piece of culture is winning. If you're winning, everybody thinks the culture's perfect. Right? They may be upset about there's not enough parking spots, or, somebody got rid of the coconut water and they've got this other brand of coconut water, which isn't fresh pressed, and I like the other coconut water. So when you hear people complaining about that kind of nonsense, you should be like, oh my God, thank God they're complaining about the parking and the coconut water, right? So those are the kind of problems that are not problems. So keep the company winning and the culture will be easy. Now, transparency, always good for culture. People want to know what's going on with the company. When you don't tell people what's going on, their minds wander to the darkest place, right?
Yes.
So if somebody doesn't call you and you try to call them and you don't know where they are, what does your mind do? Oh my God, something happened to them. You think about the worst case scenario.
Totally.
This is what happens as leaders. If you don't communicate proactively with people and say, this is why we're doing what we're doing, these are the next countries we're going to bring our software to, here's why we're bringing our software to those countries, then you know what happens? In their mind, they go, oh my God, something's wrong with the company. Or, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. Their minds just immediately go to the darkest places. And you as the leader go, why are you thinking that I'm going to lay you off? I think you're the greatest. And even if you tell people, I think you're the greatest, you're doing an amazing job, and then they don't have full information on the business and how it's doing, they probably just think you're lying. So you're patting them on the head like, good puppy. So tell people the fundamentals of the business and have a plan and check in on that plan. So if you don't have regular check-ins and a regular process for employees giving feedback and for you communicating with them, I think that communication is the issue. 100% of the time that somebody does a survey of employees and they say, what's wrong with the company? Yep. The number one response, almost universally, unless there's something really weird going on in the company, like an edge case, is communication. And in fact, the companies with the best communication, everybody who writes it on the cards or does a survey says communication in our company sucks. Like literally the companies with the best communication that have the most open communication, they say communication is terrible. Somebody was doing something over here, in the Xbox group, and I didn't know about it in the Slack group, and the Skype people are doing this, and it overlaps with this, and it's like, okay, it's a big company. Everybody's allowed to talk to everybody. We have all these cross-functional groups, and even then they say it's communication. So you can never invest enough in transparency and communication when you're going from 10 to 100, because something happens at about 30 people for every founder. When you hit 30 people, you're going to walk into your office one day, and you're going to see somebody and say, hey, who are you here to meet with? Can I help you? And they're like, I've worked here for 3 months. Yeah. And you're like, oh, you've worked here for 3 months. I'm Jason, I'm the CEO. I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, things have changed. Hey everybody, let's take a moment to thank our friends at Braintree. They have been a great supporter of This Week in Startups, and they are the simplest, easiest, and safest way to do payments. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about checkout experience. That's when people are checking out of your website. And do you know that 67% of online shoppers abandon their shopping carts? They put stuff in it and they don't actually check out and buy the products. Your checkout might actually be letting your customers slip away, and here's why. Your process may not be simple and clear, and you want it to be simple and clear. And you want the call to action when they're checking out to be concise and prominent. The fewer clicks, the better. And you want to let customers pay how they want, whether that's credit cards or debit cards or even these new forms of digital currency, and Braintree allows all of them. So the more options you give them, the more likely they are to check out. And of course, you want to reassure them about security. A lot of people get a little nervous still, even to this day, when they're checking out online, and you want to make sure you display those trusted icons throughout the process. Braintree is the payment platform that offers simple, secure checkout, and they accept every way you could possibly pay in 130 plus currencies. You can learn more by going to braintreepayments.com/twist, braintreepayments.com/twist, braintreepayments.com/TWIST/twist. It's a great product. A lot of my startups use it. In fact, every e-commerce startup I think I've ever invested in uses Braintree. It is state of the art. It's the best company for doing this. They constantly make the platform better. So go ahead and visit braintreepayments.com/twist. It's a total no-brainer. Okay, let's get back to this exciting episode.